What's up, party people? Me. Anyways, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a mental health Q&A. I asked you guys on Instagram if you had any questions for me as far as like mental health, obviously Q&A. So we're gonna go ahead and get into that. I actually want to be eating while I'm doing this because I'm starving and I want to get this video like completed, but I need to eat at the same time. Not really a mukbang. That's not what my channel does. I do watch mukbangs all the time and ASMR. Like if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I love ASMR and that is like my jam. So that's not what this is though. But if you want to call it a mukbang, you can call it a mukbang. Got my cauliflower pizza here, cauliflower crust, some pepperoni. I'm trying to be healthy. So anyways, to get into the questions. Okay, there's so many questions here. I'm actually gonna, hold on, let me take down this post because I actually got a lot of questions. Oh no. Please don't delete. Please don't delete. Please don't delete. I just messed up. Wow. Okay, let's try that again. It's about like an hour later. Here comes Quavo. I posted a story and I asked you guys to re-ask me these questions. I'm just gonna go ahead and get into answering them. I don't have to worry about eating because I already did that. Again, if you, boys. So one question is, how do you deal with being famous and anxiety? How can you manage all of it? I don't necessarily like see myself as being famous. I feel like I live a pretty normal life. Which is kind of why I like my life in a sense, because I don't feel like I'm famous. I get recognized every now and then, and it sometimes does get I get really anxious. Like if I know that people, okay, here's an example. The other day I went to Applebee's to pick up some food for Damien and I. One second, boys. Anyways, I went to Applebee's to pick up some food for Damien and I had walked in and asked the girl at the front if it was ready, and she said it wasn't ready yet, but to wait a few minutes. So I usually just stand there. I was waiting for the food, and these people at the bar, they noticed me. Which is fine. Like they said my name. They said it correctly too, so if you're watching that, thanks for saying my name right. And then they asked if they could take a photo with me. I said yes, took a photo, and then the two girls that were who worked there that were at the front desk, like at the the hostess stand, they were like trying to figure out who I was, and then they figured out who I was, but they were like talking cryptic about me. Not saying anything mean, but kind of like talking cryptic, like saying things to each other that only they could understand, so that I didn't understand, but I knew what was going on because I'm very aware. Like a part of my anxiety and a part of me being like a worrier is that I'm always aware of what's going on around me. Like I see everything just because I need to know what's going on. I don't want to be like sidetracked by anything. And so I knew what they were saying, and I knew that they were talking about me, and that made me very uncomfortable and very anxious, to the point where I had to leave. Like I was like, you know what, I'll come back in like 5 minutes and I'm gonna go wait in my car. And I don't really like that. I mean, if it just, to me, it's like you're talking about me and you're staring at me, and that makes me feel very uncomfortable. So like that's the only thing, situations like that where I know people are talking about me and they don't necessarily acknowledge me. They just talk about me in a cryptic way, like I don't know what they're talking about. And then it's easier just to be like, hey, like, hi, how are you? Like that. I'd rather that than you just kind of talk about me in front of me. You know, it just makes me really uncomfortable. That's the only thing that I really don't like. Other than that, I don't mind meeting people. I don't mind like taking pictures or anything like that in a right area. How do you encourage self-care on days where you don't feel like getting out of bed? For me, self-care means doing things that makes me happy, doing things that promotes, you know, health in my life and positive feelings in my life. And so those things, like self-care days, I encourage more in my life than the normal human who wouldn't deal with anxiety or anything like that, or deal with like depression and days where you just can't get out of bed. I think that that should be your drive. For me, that's my drive to get out of bed. You know, like today I'm gonna do my makeup. Doing my makeup is something that I find as self-care because it's like very therapeutic for me. I really, really, really enjoy it. I like learning about it. So makeup's just one of the thousands of things that I think are good for self-care. I also really, really encourage massages if we're getting technical. Like I think massages are one of the best things you could do for your body and for your mind. It kind of forces you to sit there and be in the moment and calm your mind down, because if you're getting a massage and having someone like rub out all the tension in your body but your mind is still going, you're not really getting all of it out of the massage that you possibly can. And so I think that just the physical act of massaging your muscles and pushing tension out and pushing stress out can really help with anxiety. So that's one thing that I definitely make sure that I get at least. I want to do it once a month. I don't have the time, and it kind of get a little expensive as well. But any time that I have free time that I really can go get a massage, I'll do it. So those are kind of the two things that I think encourage I help encourage self-care. I think self-care shouldn't be a thing that's hard to do. It's self-care should be something that you want to do, and that, you know, if you're having a hard time getting out of bed, just say, you know what, I'm gonna go do my makeup, or I'm gonna take a run, whatever you feel is enjoyable for you. I'm gonna watch Netflix for a few hours. Then do that, because that gets you up and going. Is it hard for you to see a therapist consistently when you travel? Yes, it is incredibly hard. That's kind of why I obviously I promote therapy because it's helped me in a ton. But in the past like few months, I haven't found a therapist yet, because with my schedule, it kind of is up in the air and it goes all over the place, and that sometimes I have to be somewhere last minute. And with that kind of profession, you get charged if you cancel last minute. So with my last therapist, I went and saw her, or I had an appointment set up, and I was filming my show, Sydel Takes On, and we had a last minute change in schedule, and I had a therapy session set up, but I had to change it, or I couldn't go because my schedule changed. And she didn't charge me, thankfully she let it go, but I would have been charged half of what the session would have costed if I did go. Obviously there's certain insurance that do cover therapy, so make sure if you have insurance, health insurance, you check in with your health insurance and see if that's something that they cover for you. If it is, I would definitely take full advantage if it's something that you need. But with my therapist I was going to, the whole insurance thing, I'd have to go take the claim, or not the claim, but the paper that my therapist gave me, then go file it with my insurance company, and then they just reimburse me. But that was like a lot, and I sometimes forgot to do it. So basically it was coming out of my pocket, and I didn't think that it was worth me wasting money because of my schedule. So long story short, yes, it is very hard for me to keep a therapist because of my schedule. There are a lot of therapy resources that you can do over the phone or through FaceTime or Skype, something like that, and those are great. I've done it a couple times. I'm not a huge fan. I have a scatter mind. My mind's always all over the place, and so for me to actually focus with and have like an efficient and effective therapy session, I need to be there with my therapist in the room, no distractions, no phones, no computers, no nothing, and I find that I get the best sessions when I'm in person. So I do need, for me personally, I do need to go in person. But if you're not that kind of person, if your mind isn't all over the place, then and you have like a busy schedule or your job, or you don't have the chances to go into an actual office, I definitely would take advantage of those resources online. I'm talking kind of fast, I know, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to get through as many of these questions as possible without this video being 8 hours long. How do you explain anxiousness to new people in your life? It's hard to explain anxiousness, period, or any mental health, period, depending on what it is. Because you, as the person going through it, I don't know what it is myself exactly. So it's hard to explain it to someone if I don't get it either. So for instance, like I haven't really had to explain it to anybody new. I don't really have a lot of new people in my life, and so when I kind of developed this anxiety, I was going through it with them, so they could just see changes in my actions and in my behavior, and they kind of just knew through my actions. I think Damien was the last person I actually had to explain it to, besides my YouTube community and my Instagram community. Besides you guys, Damien was the last person that I actually had to explain it to, and I just kind of explained to him my past and what I had been through to create this anxiety. So my PTSD with my relationship, with a past relationship, and then the 5 concussions. Explain to him, you know, what those experiences were like for me, explain to him how I was before and then how I am now, and then he's able to see how I am now compared to what I told him how I used to be. So that was my way of explaining it. I think that now that we're married and we've been in a relationship for 3 years now, I think it's easy to tell just by actions. I'm really emotional. I get overwhelmed very easily. I'm a little short-tempered. Sorry, babe. All of these things these actions, these symptoms, I guess you can call it, that are symptoms of anxiety. I think he kind of sees them in itself. So, yeah, I don't know. I haven't really had to explain it to someone. Just more so explaining like my shortness of breath, quick-tempered, overwhelmed easily, avoidance. Avoidance is a huge thing. That's actually a new discovery of mine about my anxiety, is I avoid things like crazy. So yeah, I don't know if that answered your question, but that's kind of just more so how it's just how your actions are, can tell a lot. Have you found therapy that works? And any tips to share that helps with your anxiety? So therapy in general, like I don't know what exactly you mean by therapy that works, but going to talk to a therapist in general does wonders, because I find that a lot of the answers to helping me manage it, because someone also asked, can you cure anxiety? I don't know that. Again, full disclosure, I am not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, not a psychiatrist. I am a psych major. I have taken all the necessary classes to get that degree, but if you know anything about being a therapist, and to me it's being a psychologist and a counselor, you have to go through years and years more of schooling to get your master's and your PhD and all that stuff. So again, this is just my experiences and a little bit of my knowledge that I learned in school. So I don't know if you can cure anxiety. I have no idea. For me, it's just about managing it. Managing it is kind of my goal at this point, and be consistent with that. And so I think that in therapy, I find that I have some of the answers, and I also discover new reasons for my anxiety, pressures. A recent discovery that I've actually had is just a bit of pressure of being in my family. Love my family. I wouldn't want to be in any other kind of family, but with every family, whether you're in the spotlight or not, there's pressures that come with it. And there's also like troubles or hard times that come with it. And so I definitely do feel a lot of pressure being my family. It makes me the person I am today, so I wouldn't change it for the world, like I said. But that also, you know, is a part of my anxiety, and also, you know, having the pressure of wanting to be somebody and make my mark on this world. Going to therapy has just shown all of that to me. So I definitely think that talking about it and being open about my feelings and what's going on in my head has helped a lot with being able to manage it, because I can tell myself, Sydel, these are just thoughts. This is your mind that's doing this to you. It could be the case, it could not be the case, but you can't let it overcome you. Can't let it overtake, you know, your life. So, you know, that's another tip, is to remind yourself that the world is not coming to an end. Your mind is just saying things to you that you can't help, but you can redirect it. So for me, if I get really anxious if I'm in a crowd of people, like sometimes I just have to, especially if I'm around a crowd of new people that I don't know, it's over, game over. So I literally have to remove myself. Do not be afraid to remove yourself. I remember I was on a brand trip with the last summer, and it was with all these girls. Everyone was amazing. I love everybody with a knot, but there were new people. I'm in a new space with influencers who are so amazing, doing way more than I am. All these thoughts are going through my head, and I was just like, I need to take a step. We were at dinner and I was like, I need to take a step outside. I can't breathe. I can't sit here. I'm shaking. I don't know what's going on. I'm about to start crying. I need to take a step outside. And that's what I did. Took a step outside, gathered my thoughts. I told myself, Sydel, like, I walked myself through every situation. I'm at this restaurant. I have all my limbs. I'm with really amazing people. There's nothing to worry about. I'm fine. So I have to really give myself a lot of pep talks all the time. That's a really big question, but I feel like also tips with anxiety is gratitude. Finding things that you're thankful for is very important as well. You know, waking up every morning and thinking about thinking positive thoughts can do wonders. If you're waking up every day with negativity around you, you're not going to succeed that day, because not only are you having to fight with your mind, but you're having to fight with all the negativity that you're surrounding yourself with. And so if you just bring positive into your day, starting the day off with 5 things that you're grateful for, and thinking about those things throughout the day, at the end of the day, you have those 5 things that you're grateful for. So it's okay. You're okay. Do you think social media plays a role, an unhealthy role in mental health? I do, to a certain extent. If you let social media bring that negative energy, like I was just talking about, into your life, that's an unhealthy role that you're bringing into your life, right? So for me, I am an advocate for the block button. I will block anyone who brings a hint of negativity into my space, because I don't need that, right? I have enough going on up here. I have enough negative thoughts flying up here where I don't need someone who doesn't know me, who has no right to have an opinion about my life and my family, about anybody. I don't need you, so I'm gonna block you. It's just that easy, guys. Like, I'm telling you, if you're having trouble with social media and all the negative things going around, whether it's about you or it's just about anything that's bringing negativity, block them. Because you're not missing anything. Unless, like, if you're trying to better yourself and better your mind and better your space, you're not missing anything when you're blocking things that are negative and that are not bringing joy to your life. Marie Kondo them. Block. Clean them out. They bring you joy? No? Peace. Holla. Good night. Yeah. Nah. Bye. Don't even worry about it. Let them go. Let it go. And you'll be so much better for yourself. Oh, there's so many questions and I'm already 18 minutes in. How do you get over the anxiety of public speaking and hosting events? Whew. I'm not sure if this is a healthy thing, and honestly, like, it's the only way I can do public events and talk openly and host all these things. It's because I don't know if it's healthy. It's just kind of how my body copes. Because I want to share my message and I want to, you know, be this person who can go out and speak and host and do all these things. I black out. Not like, and not like, oh, imagine this isn't coconut water. Imagine it's like, you know, the things that make you black out. I'm not over here like this. No. I literally black out. Like, my mind goes blank. Somehow my mind knows how to just completely shut off, in a sense, where I'm still talking, I'm still being able to, like, communicate. But to me, those things are much more important than my anxiety. Me being able to do what I feel like God has put me on this earth to do is much more important than my anxiety. And so somehow God has just given me the ability to just completely turn it off, do what I gotta do, and then I'll come back, and I promise you can ask my friend Chan knows, if he's watching this, you know. After an event, my very first event, he was like, oh, how did you feel? I'm like, I have no idea. I have not one clue about how I'm feeling right now. Not one. because I blacked out. I don't know what happened. I don't know what I said. Like, it's just not a thing for me. And you know how I know that it's not just like I know that it's an anxiety thing versus like a big time thing, if that makes sense, because at my wedding, like, that's a big time thing, right? It's a huge deal. There's a lot going on. But I didn't black out. Like, I remember every single part of that day. I remember waking up and I was like, let's go. Like 7 o'clock in the morning, like, what? I'm chilling. Like, there's no anxiety, nothing. I walked down the aisle. I remember walking down the aisle. I remember standing up there saying my vows to him. I remember every single thing about my wedding. And that's a huge deal. There's 300 people at my wedding, like tons of people. I was standing up in front of everybody, having to talk, nothing. I'm fine. But with these events that I'm doing, I completely black out. And that's because I'm just not comfortable with it, but I do it anyway because it's more important. So that's kind of how I do all these speaking engagements and hosting events and stuff. Is somehow I can black out. I can just forget, like, not forget, but just turn my mind off, and then I'll come back and hope that I did my best. Hope that it all turned out well. Aisha asked me if I got my lips done. No, it's the power of overdrawn lips. Do you regret doing college volleyball because of the 5 concussions? Absolutely not. I do not regret anything about volleyball. I don't know why I always get so emotional when I talk about volleyball. I'm not gonna cry here, but I don't regret it. I think that volleyball has done so much more for my life and has honestly saved my life. And the 5 concussions and the anxiety that it's put in, the anxiety that's come from it, is allowing me to tell my story and to help a lot of people. So I don't regret anything about volleyball, not one thing. It's brought me some of my best friends. It's kept me fit for a certain amount of time. You know, it's just brought me so many things that I could never regret it. And then, like I said, it's given me the ability to talk to you guys and share my story with you guys. Any tips from your husband on how he helps when you're having an episode? Do your puppies help you cope? Abso-freaking-lutely. My dogs, I don't know what I would do without them, because they provide so much like stability for me with anxiety and any type of mental health issue. Everything is just, there's so much instability and there's so much of the unknown going on. And with my boys, like, they are always there. I know their schedule in the back of my hand. I know what's wrong with them. I know when they have to go out, when they have to when they have to eat. I know that when I get really emotional, Quavo will come lay with me. I know that Nobu will always try to fight me. Like, they just are, they're such a sweet spirit, and that's what I need. I depend on them so much. That's why I'm very pro emotional support pet. And I didn't realize that I needed them so badly. I've always had dogs growing up, so, you know, having a pet and being really connected to them isn't like out of the ordinary for me. But going through this season of life and these new feelings that I'm having, I realized that, like, I've always been dependent on my dogs because they just are always there. Like, there's no having to guess. There's just, I don't know. It's always certain about them. So yeah, I love my dogs, and I'm very dependent on them. And I'm so grateful that, you know, we have these opportunities to have these emotional support pets, and these initiatives are being put out for people like me to, you know, be able to have our dogs and they keep us sane. Are you taking any medication for anxiety? No, I am not taking any medication for anxiety right now. I did for a little bit, but I didn't like the way it made me feel. It made me kind of feel like stagnant, and I don't want to lose my personality at all. I'd rather me try to figure out how to manage my anxiety than just try to mask all feelings at all, you know. And that's how, I don't know if that's what I know there are tons of people. Aisha's been open about her being on medication for anxiety. I have a few other friends who are on medication as well, and theirs works, big work for them. To me, they seem like they're like the same people. But for me, I just didn't like how I felt, so finding other ways to deal with it. Did you experience post-wedding depression? Is that a thing is that a thing after a big life event? I did not experience post-wedding depression, probably because I was ready for it to be over. Not in like a negative way, like I enjoyed my wedding and it was so much fun. But it was a bit of a stressful thing for me. Like even with having the best wedding planner in the world, who probably did everything she possibly could have done for me, I still was stressed out. And so it was very like much of a woohoo when it was done and I was married and we're good to go. So I didn't really experience any post-wedding depression. But I did experience post-college depression, like as soon as maybe it was like 4 or 5 months after I graduated from college, I did experience that depression of just being like, oh, this sucks. Like the real world sucks. But the post-wedding thing, no. But I do know that's a thing. Like a lot of women go through their wedding and then it's like over. You think about this big day. You think about from when you were a little girl to, you know, then, and like it's all over and it's like, well, what do I do now? I can see how that could be like a depressing thing. Amy, that's a thing. I have heard of it, so you're not alone in that. I totally get it. I completely get it. Like I said, if you spent your whole life thinking about this one event, it comes and goes, and then like, what do you have left? So it'll pass, I'm sure, like anything. You just have to, you know, find something else to find joy in, you know, thinking about when you want to, if you want to have a family, thinking about starting your family and that build up to that. But try to find some joy. Try to find some joy somewhere else. And put, you know, the joy of having your wedding into that. I know it can be really, really tough, so thinking about your girl. What are some of the things your hubby does to support you in anxiety moments? My hubby is the best. Like, I love him and he's so sweet. But I do want to be honest and say that this is a journey for both of us. We don't get it perfect every single time. I have my episodes and he feels like he takes it personally, and it's hard not to take it personally. When you kind of feel like I don't know what he thinks. This is my view on what he might be going through. I could be really wrong, but it could be and you could possibly feel like helpless in these situations, because sometimes, most of the time, there's not anything really anyone can do except for the person that's going through it to help them feel better, right? Because it's all mental and it's all in that person's head. So I can see how if you're supporting someone who's going through a tough time, how you could feel really helpless and you want to be able to do something but you can't. One, maybe you don't know what to do, and two, there is nothing to do because it's all the person actually going through it has to figure it out. I think that for me, one of the best things Damien ever did was just say, like, I'm here for you. I want to understand what you're going through, but I understand if you can't explain it. But just know that I'm here for you for whatever you need. So I feel like if you're trying to support someone, so for this woman, Nisi 11, you want to support your husband in anxiety moments, just let him know that you're there for him, that you don't want to be pushy, you're not trying to, like, as much as you want to, you're not trying to save his world. But just like, you're there, you're understanding, even if he can't explain, you're understanding. And you know, just kind of be that place of safety. Every person, we need a safe space. We need a place that we can go to vent to. And I think that that's one of the most important things, is just to be a safe space for that one. If it's your husband, your wife, your best friend, a coworker, whatever, be a safe space and be a place where that person can come and talk to you about what they're going through. No judgment zone, no, oh, well, there's people dying in the world. Like, no, what? I'm telling you, it's like the worst thing that you could say to someone that's going through an anxiety time. Like, what I always say is, my mountains are my mountains. Your mountains might be higher than my mountains, but my mountains are still my mountains, and I still have to get over them. the same way that you have to get over yours. So do not compare, even, and someone who's dealing with anxiety, do not compare your mountain, your problems to someone else's. That's not doing you any justice at all. You're not gonna feel any better that way. You need to deal with what you're going through so that you can be good. Okay? Like that's one of like the worst things. And I do it myself. That's why I'm like very passionate about this, because I do it myself and I'm like, oh, well, I have it good. Like I'm just masking my problems if I'm doing that. Right? I'm not helping myself at all. So back to the question, be a safe space and be a place where that person can come and talk to you and just vent. Maybe they're not comfortable going to therapy and talking to a professional. That's fine. Honestly, we just need someone to talk to who's going to be like, you know what, I get it. How does that make you feel? Or like, you know, let them be able to vent out loud. Maybe they can figure something out for themselves. How do you love yourself? That's a good question. For me, and again, these are my situations and these are my opinions, and so I don't go through the same thing that everyone else goes through, and I don't discover things the same way that everyone else discovers things. But for me, I had to go through a really, really, really bad relationship to really love myself. I had to go to be the lowest of lows in this relationship and then come out of it to be like, I know my worth. Like, I know exactly what I deserve. Not saying I was perfect in that relationship at all. I wasn't. But I still know what I bring to the table, and I still know after the fact that I'm worthy of something good. And not just in a relationship, in anything in life. You know, you have to know your worth and know what you deserve, and not know what you should put up with and shouldn't put up with. So for me, that just took me being in a really bad relationship, and I don't wish that on anyone. I don't think that that's the only way to find self-love, is through a bad relationship, but that's just kind of how I found it. Unfortunate, but I wouldn't change it, because I'm the woman who I am today because of that relationship. So what do you think the most important reason is for talking about mental health? The most important reason for me about talking about mental health is that there are a billion other people in this world who could be going through the same things, but they don't feel comfortable talking about it. The stigma behind mental health is that you're weak, or you know, you're just basically you're weak and you're a punk if there's something wrong with you, if you're sad for no reason, or if you can't take being around people, or if you get overwhelmed really quickly, like you're a punk, get over it, and that makes me so mad, because we cannot help it. As much, like, I'm probably the hardest on myself about this stuff than anyone else is, and so when I think about the fact that there are people out there that don't feel comfortable and that do feel like punks from other people because of whatever they're going through, like, that makes me so mad, because they really can't help it. If they wanted to be normal and to, well, whatever normal is, they would if we could, honestly, but we can't. So I just want to talk about it because I want to save lives. First of all, there are too many people taking their lives over something that's not their fault, and they think it's their fault. There are too many people that aren't using the resources because they're either afraid to, or they don't know how, they don't know where to go to get help. And I want to do my best to try to save lives through my story, and to also just start the conversation. I feel like, I don't know if I said this on my channel before, but like, having anxiety or having some kind of mental health issue is so common. It's like having a common cold. So if I were to come to Stacy, I don't know who Stacy is, but if I were to go to Stacy and be like, hey Stacy, I have a cold. Like, what'd you do for your cold? I want to get rid of my cold. And Stacy would be like, oh, well, I took some NyQuil and some DayQuil, and I took some Airborne, and I'm good. So if I were to go up to Stacy and be like, hey Stacy, like, I've got anxiety, I want Stacy to be like, you know what, I have anxiety too. And then we should talk about, well, what do you do to help your anxiety? Why do you get anxiety? Oh my God, me too. It should be that common of a conversation, and no one should be afraid or embarrassed or put off by talking about it. because it's important, and again, it's saving lives. So yeah, this is gonna be a long video, and I hope I make sense, but I'm really passionate about this, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this and it helped you. If I didn't answer any questions correctly, please leave them in the comments below. I'll try to answer them again, or answer them for you better. But yeah, I really hope you guys appreciate this video and like it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want. We're a good time over here, and I'll see you guys in the next vlog. Mwah.